So, the BRRRR strategy. Does it really work? Me and my wife did it. We're going to tell y'all all about it. Is it worth the hype? Could it work for you? Maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. We're going to tell you about our journey. So we bought our first house, $10,000. I know you're probably saying, wherever you're from, how in the world can you buy a house for $10,000? Where? We're in Louisiana, okay? And you have to start somewhere. So we started in a low income neighborhood. Everybody doesn't have a silver spoon, and we're building our business from the ground up. So a lot of y'all out there probably start like we start. Everybody can't make their first property $1 million property, a $500,000 property. You start where you can start. The thing about it is, how do you actually start? How did we actually start? So this is what we did. I know everybody's wanting to know, this BRRRR strategy, this BRRRR method thing, does it actually work? And we're going to be upfront with you. We're just going to tell you the truth. We're not going to sugarcoat you. We're not going to lie to you. We're not trying to sell you nothing. If you're looking for somebody on YouTube to keep it 100% real, well, then you came to the right channel. So this is what happened. First of all, let's talk about what the BRRRR strategy and BRRRR method is. So you buy, then you rehab, then you rent, then you refinance, and then you repeat. So like I said earlier, we bought our first property. This property, yes, it was a hood property, but like we said, you know, you have to start somewhere. So it was an older couple, and they were getting rid of their portfolio. And so we knew an agent, you know, in the business, because at the time I was a real estate agent. So one of the fellow agents, he had access to the property. So the first thing, I mean, if you can get a good relationship with an investment agent, maybe one that specializes in investment properties, he can give you the tips, because this property wasn't even on the market, because they know people who are trying to sell properties on market and properties off the market. A lot of times, by the time the house that you would want, you know, gets on the market, it's kind of not worth it, but it could be if you buy it right. So basically, like I said, we were able to buy it really cheap, and it actually didn't need any work. It already had a renter in there. So basically, we bought it in a good equity position. That means we bought the property when there's already equity in the property. So what is equity? Okay. Equity is basically how much you owe on the property versus how much it was worth. And what the bank did when we went to refinance, we did what's called a cash out refinance. Okay. They gave us our equity in cash form. So they stroked the check. It was 80% of our equity. So they stroked that check to me and my wife. And now all of a sudden we had a pile of money to go do, you know, what we needed to do. We had a choice. Either we could have just went, spent it, and bought, you know, Louis, Chanel, Jordans, and just blew it, and that could have been the end of our business. Or, you know, you could do like what we did. We took it and we did what we were supposed to do with it. We reinvested it. So just kind of let you know about the first one. Like I was saying earlier, we bought the property in a good equity position. Basically, what is equity again is basically how much you own it versus how much it was worth. And the huge thing about real estate, if you'll talk to most investors, they'll tell you that you make your money when you buy the property. Of course, tangibly, you actually get the money when you sell the property or you refinance or whatever you decide to do, but you make the money whenever you buy the property. How is that? Because you have to buy the property correctly. A lot of people go in at a high price or a retail price, and they want to fix things up and then refinance. Well, you're already at your max after repair value. After repair value is what the house is worth after you fixed it up. You want to buy it at a good enough percentage below that. So if the house is worth $100,000, you don't want to buy the house for $100,000 and then go and put $20,000 $25,000 worth of work in it and hope to get $200,000. That is a recipe for disaster. What you want to do is actually look at what's called your comps. Those are your comparables. Basically, what houses in that area have sold for after they've been repaired, or what price are the houses selling for in that area, and then you want to buy it at a certain percentage below that. So to find out comps, you can get a realtor. They can ask you if you get a relationship with them. I mean, you can ask them if you get a good relationship with a realtor. I had it already because I was already a realtor and I had access to what's called the MLS, multiple listed services. I'm no longer a realtor, but I have realtor friends now that can send me things, and also investor buddies that can send me deals. So first thing, get a good relationship with people who have access to the deals, because getting the right deal, buying it for the right price, that's what's going to really determine how successful you are in your real estate business. So like I said before, we had this big chunk of money, and what did we say we're going to do? We are going to go and buy another property, because why? This is easy. These were old people getting rid of their portfolio, and they wanted to sell everything at a discount, and we didn't even have to fix anything up, and there was already a renter. All we had to do was buy it for cheap and then come in and do a cash out refi. So simple, so easy, right? Yeah, we'll see. So on to the next property. But here's the thing. Your properties have to appraise right. You have to get the right appraisers as well. So, they have to know what they're doing to give you the right number when they appraise your property. So the next property, we said we're going to do the same thing. This was another house in their portfolio. So we said, well, we got one. That was easy. We'll get another one. Well, that one didn't need any repairs. There was a renter in there as well. We did our comps and did everything that we were supposed to do, but the appraiser came in and had no clue. So he lowballed us. Guess what? We went into this one with a large sum of money to be able to buy, and we said we're going to cash out and refi, but the appraiser, like I just said, lowballed us. So this big chunk of money that we thought we were going to get again just to keep doing it, it didn't happen this time. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, we were in Vegas in the airport. We were thinking, hey, we're about to get this, do it just like we did it last time. And then the banker called me and said the appraisal was in and it was much lower than we expected. We were like, oh, okay. What are we going to do now? This is what I can say. Maybe this can happen in higher income neighborhoods as well. But sometimes when you're in the lower to moderate income areas, the appraisers, they don't have enough comps, or they really don't take the time, or they really don't care. Okay. So, we could have fought it, but we were in Vegas. We didn't really do much pushback. We still had a little left over from when we cashed out on our first one. So it wasn't going to kill our business, but it was inconvenient. That was the first time it was showing us that, hey, it may not be as easy as it seems. Now, it's still pretty simple, but we're talking about as easy as it seems. So when we went into our next property, we didn't have as much equity because we didn't have as much to put down, even though we bought it in a good equity position. Again, it wasn't in as good of an equity position as the first one that we bought. So we did maybe our first 5 or 6 properties using the BRRRR strategy. I'll say until the BRRRR strategy ran out. Actually, it wasn't the BRRRR strategy that ran out. It was us that ran out. And this is what we're saying. Did the BRRRR strategy work for us? Yes. However, you have to keep emotions out of it. You cannot make emotional deals. You can't make deals out of desperation. You make a deal on the numbers. Just because you feel like you need another property and there aren't a lot of properties around to fit your criteria, don't jump at the first thing just to keep it going. Or don't jump at something that possibly could be good just to keep it going. So in conclusion, the BRRRR strategy does work, but you have to work the BRRRR strategy. If you don't work the BRRRR strategy properly, then the BRRRR strategy won't work. But if you do it properly, it'll work. The thing is, the numbers are the numbers. It's not emotion. It's not when you walk in and say, oh, I love this house, or your spouse or your friend or your realtors or everybody's putting pressure on you to purchase another property, or you getting the answer you want to purchase another property just to purchase it and think you can make it work. No such thing. Do not make that mistake. The BRRRR strategy, did it work? Yes, it did work until we stopped working it. If we would have continued to work the BRRRR strategy properly, then the BRRRR strategy would have continued to work. This is a real life scenario. We're normal people just like you who decided to start this real estate journey. We've been in it since 2018. So we have at least 5 years. We've had flips, rentals, done a BRRRR strategy, bought it the conventional way. And if you're interested in flipping properties, stay tuned to our next video and we will tell you about that. That's one that you don't want to miss. They say it's so easy. You just buy a property for cheap. You know, you fix it up and then you make money. Sounds so simple, but it's not as easy. So if you want the real deal, stay tuned to the next video. Peace.